Our national debt soaring to a one-day record today, more than $300 billion in one day. The first day the federal government officially allowed to borrow money. They made the most of it under the debt ceiling deal signed by the president this week. That officially puts our debt, by the way, over the $17 trillion mark, as you see there, for the first time ever. It would be stunning if that would have been the second or third. But joining us now, National Review columnist John Fund and Wall Street Journal opinion page editor James Toronto, news director for the Tea Party News Network, Scottie, Nell, Hughes. Thank you all for being here. This administration has a hard time, it seems, managing anything. This is really, do you think that this is such a disaster that we may actually see the repeal of Obamacare?
I think Obamacare is going to bankrupt itself. And while we sit here and we do filibusters and we try every tactic that we could up to now to get it repealed, the reality of it is there is no way these numbers can sustain itself in the economy that we are in today. When you're resting on the backs of 27, 28, and 29-year-olds, there's no way it's going to be a success. So it's just only time.
Are you of the mind that the Republicans could have, well, just let Obamacare roll, not gotten into the contra-temps over the debt ceiling, and simply let what happens happen?
It certainly looks that way. I mean, the fundamental mistake that the Republicans made, remember Ted Cruz said people are going to like Obamacare. It's going to be much harder to get rid of once it starts. That assumption was completely wrong, an assumption which a lot of Obamacare proponents agreed with. Now, I have to say, I'm surprised that they were not even able to get a website running competently. I mean, Obamacare, you know, the analogy to a train wreck, I think, is a little unfair to train wrecks because trains are at least designed in such a way that they're capable of working. Obamacare was going to fall apart anyway because the economics of it are completely screwy, but they can't even get the website to work, and then the ways in which the website doesn't work actually probably accelerate the decline of Obamacare, the so-called death spiral. The
death spiral seems to have afflicted the program itself rather than the consumers of the program. John, this is an administration that's not managing well anything. It seemingly cannot manage anything well other than its campaign organization. That it apparently does brilliantly.
Getting elected. Yep. Michael Astrew was President Obama's Commissioner of Social Security until last February. He's now in the private sector. He warns even when this website does work, it will be an identity theft bonanza because so much of the information will be able to be extracted and misused. Now, Lou, I want to talk about the 4 states that actually have functioning exchanges. They set them up themselves. Okay. Washington State is one of them. We can learn something from them because eventually if you spend enough money, you'll get a website. Washington State has signed up now roughly, I think in the last few days, the last number was about 13,000 enrollees, but over 80% of those signed up for Medicaid. They are not getting the new people who either didn't have private insurance or young people who will, of course, help sustain Obamacare. If those numbers are replicated in other states, the death spiral James mentioned will take place because the economics don't work.
Programmatically, they have to have. It's 2.5 million people between the ages of 18 and 35. They need 7 million enrollees overall by the deadline. At this point, it looks like at this rate, they're talking about 500,000 total enrollees by the deadline, if the 50,000 number is correct and the corrupted data estimations continue. What are the Republicans going to do with this? This looks like a political bonanza just as much as it is a political catastrophe in the making for the Obama administration.
Well, first of all, we have to realize that literally only 1/4 of people that have been able to get on these websites get anywhere with it. And once they lose that, there's more than likely they're not going to come back and visit. But this is where Ted Cruz was good. And because his filibuster literally brought attention, brought American people focusing on this issue where they might have just gone about their everyday lives. So now the Republicans' job is going to be to make sure that we keep this on the front of the news and that be the story.
Lou, this is really important. We just learned today. You know, taxes are due April 15th next year. You have to be signed up for a health insurance policy. You have until March 31st to get signed up. But because of the IRS's administrative paperwork, you have to prove that you were signed up by February 15th or you get fined up to 1% of your income. When that happens, revolution in the streets.
Wow, that's dramatic.
It would be, I am amongst those who hopes there's enough energy and vitality and vigor in the American people remaining to actually resist a monstrosity and an affront like this program, using up hundreds of millions of dollars, and to what end? It is embarrassing, of course, to the administration. It is a humiliation for American technology and, frankly, this government. You get the last word here.
Well, I think the big question is, at what point does the Obama administration admit that this isn't working? Because so far you have Obama and Sebelius both using the same kind of shifty language, saying things like, I'm going to be the first to admit that things aren't going completely as planned. Well, that's what everyone knew on day one.
Right. We just talked with Congressman Diane Black. She was here talking about it 6 months ago.
Right. So, well, yeah, and some of us were talking about it 4 years ago. But the question is, when do they get to the point? When do they get to the point of saying, this isn't working, we need to go to Congress and ask for a delay? That's really the only sensible way this works out.
James Toronto concludes our conversation with, when does public integrity descend upon this administration? Thank you very much. Thank you for being here, guys. John Fund, James Toronto, Scottie, Nell, Hughes.